Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly O'Horo, and this is Adaptable Behavior Explained. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Adaptable Behavior Explained. I'm Kelly O'Horo, and I am an EMDR therapist who would love to share more with you about why people behave the way that they do, especially when people's choices don't make a whole lot of sense. And so that's what this whole show is about. Today, we're going to talk about something that I see all the time on my couch, and that is the topic of burnout. More specifically, the psychology of burnout, recovery, and how there's a lot more to be said than just rest. And so hopefully this topic is something that will resonate for you and help you to come up with ways to modify your choices a little bit and recover and recuperate a little bit when it comes to the topic of burnout. So you or someone you know probably has struggled with burnout. I know that I definitely have. And I think that burnout becomes even more common when we're dealing with other life stressors than perhaps just our jobs. When we're presented with family issues or a health crisis or, something going on in the lives of somebody that we love, it compounds on our capacity. And so when we have behaviors that or life experiences that compound our stress, we end up really facing the idea of burnout more often. So the topic of burnout, I think, is really important, and we're going to explore what it really takes to recover from burnout. Because while rest is important, it's not the whole story. If you've ever taken time off and still felt exhausted or unmotivated or disconnected from yourself, then this episode is for you. I think that there's a lot of behaviors that we tend to do even when we bother taking a break that actually contribute to our burnout or our capacity reduction. So now let's talk about the brain. What burnout does to our brain. It's not just about being tired. Tired is a physiological condition. Exhaustion is an emotional condition. So when we're burned out, it's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. And it's caused by, honestly, prolonged stress. We are not meant to be operating at high octane, high cortisol, high adrenal response for long periods because we end up in this prolonged stress state, and especially this stress that feels inescapable. And when is it going to end, and what comes next, and how do we get our reprieve? There's neuroscience that backs this. And from the neuroscience perspective, burnout affects key areas of your brain. So the prefrontal cortex, which helps us with our decision making, our focus, and our ability to make better decisions, it becomes less active when we're burned out. The amygdala, which processes fear and emotion, becomes more reactive. So this is where you see people more anxious, more irritable, more defensive. And the hippocampus, which helps with memory and learning, actually shrinks under chronic stress. It literally gets smaller. So we're not just not doing well, we're not taking in new memory. This means that burnout doesn't just make you feel tired, it makes it harder for you to think clearly, harder for you to regulate your emotions and adapt to change. So we become less flexible. So if you felt foggy or irritable or like you're just going through the motions, know this, it's not your head. It's your nervous system that is yelling at you. It is a dashboard saying something's got to give. And so now we're going to talk about what do you do with this and why rest alone isn't enough. A lot of people think I just need a break and I'm going to be okay. And although rest is essential, it's not the full picture. Many people take breaks from work or responsibilities only to find themselves returning to their jobs or their responsibilities, feeling totally depleted, not feeling better, and not knowing why. Well, there's reasons for this. Burnout often involves a loss of identity. We become so wrapped up in our roles, employee, caregiver, achiever, mom, wife, that we forget who we are outside of them. We lose who we are. We don't have our hobbies. We don't do things that are enjoyable. We don't have things that exercise creativity. And recovery requires more than just sleep. It requires some identity reconstruction. We have to ask ourselves, who am I now? And what do I want to carry forward? What do I value? And we might have to look at realigning our values because burnout often signals a misalignment between what we're doing, how we're spending our precious minutes on this earth, and what truly matters to us. So our body and our nervous system are our dashboard, and they're saying, "Hey, you need to pay better attention to what's going on and that your choices are negatively impacting how you live in the world." So our nervous system regulation is critical here. Chronic stress dysregulates our body's stress response. Practices like breath work, grounding, and somatic therapy help us restore balance. I've said this before in other episodes. I am someone who does therapy. I cold plunge, I sauna, I meditate, I exercise. I really do all the things that I ask my clients to do. And one of the most important things that helps me feel restored is meditation. When I don't meditate because I cut that off because I slept in too much or I had it too tight, packed my day too tight, and I didn't leave enough morning start time for my routine, and I don't meditate, I feel it. It is one of the most restorative things that I do for myself to take care of and restore my balance. So you have to pay attention. Burnout is not just a signal to rest, it's a signal to rebuild. It's a signal to adjust. It's a signal to look at how do you live your life and what are you going to do to change it? Because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. And you are the only one responsible for that. You have to take a real inventory of how you choose to live your moments and decide how do you prioritize things. And if you find yourself burned out, you feel like you're always in stress, stress is an identity, problems are an identity, and you don't do something about that, it's not going to be different for you. So I applaud you for tuning in because now you're going to learn some tools to rebuild your resilience, modify your purpose, and maybe change some values and identity. So let's talk about what recovery can actually look like. And I'm going to give you some tools that can support healing and adaptability. Ultimately, we need flexibility. And we might have to look at starting really small, and that's okay because tiny behaviors that you change consistently over time make major differences in your life. So we're going to call these micro recovery rituals. These are small intentional breaks throughout the day, like stepping outside, putting down your phone. I love that the Apple Watch has those things like time to stand up and stretch, time to take a deep breath, all these apps that try to help us pull ourselves out of the being human doings and not human beings are really necessary, and the research supports it. The research says we are chronically stressed. We are not taking good care of ourselves. And so you have to do micro recovery rituals. And I really encourage you to just stop right now, push pause on the show, and set your timer on your phone 2 times a day. Stop, take a breath, slow yourself down, put your phone down, ground yourself in some grass, get some sunshine on your face. These things will physiologically help you regulate your nervous system in real time, and they cost you nothing. And when you downregulate your nervous system, guess what? You're more effective. You're more thoughtful. You're able to be more focused. And so this will help you be actually more effective and productive. The other thing that you can look at is kind of changing the way you think about things. Instead of seeing burnout as failure, try viewing it as feedback. Like I said, I refer to the data points in our body as the dashboard. What's going on? What is it telling us? What's your body trying to say? What are the messages you're not paying attention to? And what do you need to learn from the messages that are being given to you? And this is where we might have to stop and do a little bit of purpose mapping. Start small. What gives you energy? What feels meaningful? Even if they're tiny, tiny steps towards purpose, this can reignite our motivation. We really need to think about those kinds of things. For me, one of the things that I love is preparing for my podcast. It's creative. I get to write, I get to research, and those are things I don't get to do all of the time when I am just doing trauma therapy or when I'm teaching. And so this, even though it's still work, I really enjoy utilizing the creative side of my brain, and it motivates me. And so even though it's another thing on my calendar, I really appreciate it. And so even though I only film once a month, it really reignites me and motivates me. Community and connection are critical. When we are in a silo, just being a human doing, going, and we're not being, we feel lonely. And burnout thrives in isolation. And healing happens in safe, supportive relationships. So you don't have to overhaul your whole life overnight. Recovery is a process, and every small step counts. So Find a friend to talk to. Don't isolate. When you find yourself feeling more burnout, check with yourself. Have I been going it alone too much? Have I stopped to tell someone that I love or someone that I trust, this is what I'm going through? And I don't need you to solve it. I just want to be heard. That's a really helpful thing to help bring down some of the intensity related to our burnout. It's not being alone in the stress of our lives. And we're so overscheduled and we're so overfunctioning, and we just don't take the time to slow down and connect. So it's really important, even in small moments. So now we're going to talk about reclaiming our adaptability or becoming more flexible after burnout, realizing that this cycle will continue if we don't do something different. And one of the most painful parts of burnout is feeling like you've lost your spark, your creativity, your drive, your adaptability and flexibility. You're just going through the motions, wondering when is the break coming. But here's the truth. You haven't lost it. It's just buried under chronic stress. And so to reclaim your adaptability, you need to be gentle with yourself. Again, I tell my clients this all the time. Healing isn't linear. It is a lifelong process. And so you want to make sure that as you modify and morph your life into ways that will reduce the severity of your burnout or the regularness of burnout returning, you want to celebrate small wins. Every time you listen to your body, or you set a boundary, or you choose rest over hustle for your worth, you're rebuilding. You're reestablishing new pathways in your brain that say, I can learn new things. I can feel better, and I can choose that for myself. And for those of you who are parents, this is really important because everything you do, you're modeling for your kids. If they see you constantly working, having poor sleep patterns, not taking time to laugh and to play and to be creative, they learn that's how we live. And that's not a good lesson to be teaching our kids. So reconnect with joy, even if it's for 5 minutes of something that makes you smile. It can rewire your brain towards more resilience, towards more bandwidth, and towards a greater menu of options when you are faced with stressful experiences. Adaptability isn't about pushing through. It's about learning to bend without breaking. And it's about honoring your limits along the way. And I think so much we are persons who hustle for our worth, and we have identity of being successful, and success looks like being overscheduled and over busy. And I know that I have to look at this all the time. My wonderful cheerleader and daughter-in-law is always saying, when are you going to stop seeing so many patients? And you need to take more time, and you don't have enough balance. And she's 100% right. And so even right before we were filming this show, I was like, I'm so ready for a vacation. I cannot wait to get the sunshine on me at a regular basis. I'm ready to take a minute. And I said, but I've been stressed because my calendar of clients has been less than normal. And she smiles like she's glad about it because she's been trying to get me to reduce my calendaring for a while now. And she's right because she sees me, and burnout is visible, and it affects the people around us as well. It affects our brain and our nervous system, and it makes us less flexible and it harder to adapt. So rest is necessary, but again, it's not sufficient. Recovery involves identity, your values, and your nervous system healing. And remembering that micro recovery, changing the way you think about things, and some purpose mapping can help you to support your journey in healing, and that it's not linear. It's going to take you some time. You're not broken. You're part of the hustle. You're part of today's society. You're just human. And so I invite you to really reflect on your own patterns and your own choices. What's your burnout trying to teach you? If this episode resonated with you, please like it, subscribe, or share it with someone that might be struggling with this topic for you. I really appreciate you supporting the show. If you liked what you said or what I said, connect with me on my social media, Kelly O'Horo Instagram, or my website. And if you have any topics you'd like to hear about, please let us know. I'm always looking for feedback from our listeners so that I can give you more of what's helpful for you. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, remember you're adaptable and you understand your story, and understanding your story is the first step towards healing. And don't forget to lead with love. It'll never steer you wrong.